My name is Ransford Amanfo. I'm a graphic designer, skateboarder. I have my own clothing brand, but right now my main focus is on fashion and apparel design. But I'm very versatile. I can do cover art, flyers, logos, and that's what I have a passion for.
When did you first get into art design and fashion?
I've always been into fashion since I was a kid. Growing up in Canada, skateboarding was a big thing, so streetwear culture was really big on me when it came to Babe, Undefeated, Diamond Supply, Obey, companies like that were really big back in the day, especially in Canada. So that's what got me to that streetwear skateboarding style.
What about designing and stuff like that?
Designing, I've always wanted to start a brand since I was little. I always wanted to start a skateboard company since I was in middle school. And then coming back to Atlanta from Canada, I was blessed to take a graphic designing course. And I never really knew the way to go about starting into fashion, but that definitely helped. I took graphic designing all throughout high school, 9th grade and my senior year, so that's where it kind of started.
So as far as Spasm Studios and stuff goes, when did you first develop that idea specifically, and then what was the process getting it off the ground?
First starting up with Spasm Studios, once again, I always wanted to create a brand or a skateboard company since I was young. And my friends, they were telling me about it because I was really hesitant. And I was really just procrastinating about everything. I wasn't, executing or producing anything. But one day I actually got inspired by a friend of mine who had his own clothing brand as well. And I knew that I shouldn't be waiting on anything, because I'm just sitting. COVID really just hit really bad. I didn't have anything to do, wasn't working. So I started focusing on my brand. And really coming up with my name was the hardest thing, honestly. That was probably the hardest thing for me. But when it comes to me, I can never really stick to one thing. I always was good at multiple things, whether it was sports or I was just good at a lot of things. I never really had one focus, so that's really where Spasm came, because I'm always in a bunch of different directions. And then with COVID, everything was just going so crazy. Everything was all over the place. All these rules, things we can and couldn't do. So that's how Spasm came to be. Yeah.
So how do you motivate yourself to just keep going? Because obviously, something that's having a brand, something you got to do every day and work on it all the time. So how do you motivate yourself to just keep going, keep working at it?
I'm not gonna lie, motivating myself is it's quite hard. There's a lot of competition, especially in the fashion industry, if you really want to take it seriously, and that's something I really want to do. But really, I just have to think about all these big companies, big brands that, you all got to start somewhere. It didn't happen overnight. It takes years. It takes a team. You can't do it alone. It takes time, and that's how I motivate myself, by letting myself know that it takes time, that it's not all going to happen overnight. You just got to keep working towards it.
Did you ever have a specific moment, whether it was a sale you had with somebody or a reaction to one of your logos or something that you made, where you were yeah, this is definitely something that I can do, this is me for sure?
I never really had a sale or a big reaction that made me, well, I'm not gonna lie, I had a pop-up shop literally last week, and that went super well. That went really good. My friends always they always told me, I make good stuff, when it came to my designs, my logos. But I don't know, sometimes I feel I'm all over the place. Sometimes I feel okay, I'm doing good, but then sometimes I feel I'm not doing enough. But that pop-up shop really made me feel if I really take this seriously, maybe I can take it somewhere big, somewhere far one day.
So that pop-up shop, that's kind of a representation of kind of the community in Atlanta.
Right.
Of just creators, brand owners, influencers, stuff, people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just speak to a little bit what being in Atlanta, how that's helped you grow, and what the community's here?
Atlanta is an amazing place. The competition and the creativity here is insane. There's so many people doing so many different things, and it just inspires you to work 10 times harder. You gotta work. You can't be on your ass. You know what I'm saying? So just being in Atlanta, with so many creatives and so many different types of people around you, working on different avenues, it just inspires you to work harder. That's how I feel.
what are like the biggest hurdles you've had so far? Like, just in general?
The biggest hurdles I've had so far is really finding my niche. I feel like starting a business or a brand, one of the most important things you have to do is find your niche, your audience, who you're selling to, what you're selling. And that's really what's been a struggle for me, but it's getting easier. I'm finding my target audience better, and yeah, that's probably been the biggest hurdle for me.
What are some like short-term goals you're like working on right now?
Short-term goals, I'm actually working on a short film coming up soon, and I just want to execute that like perfectly for my next drop coming up soon, probably in August, end of late August. And I'm actually gonna do a pop-up shop also myself with some friends, but I'm gonna mix it with a concert, so I'm gonna have a little lineup of people performing, and hopefully we can execute that good as well.
Obviously, you probably don't go into too much detail about your video, but if you just, I guess, kind of speak a little bit about kind of the emotion you want to create and like advertisement and like kind of how you're trying to make it more than just about the product.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so with me, when it comes to my designs, how I like to express myself, I design with things that I can relate to and I know people can relate to. I feel like if you put your emotion into what you're creating, people can relate to you on a deeper level. So that's what I strive for when I'm designing something. And with what I've designed 3 sweatsuits. So one of them is called Pretty Girls Love Each Other. The second one is called Hey God, It's Me Again. And the third one is called People Come and Go. And I want to do an episode for each sweatsuit. So it's going to be 3 episodes. I only want to make it 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds, not too long. I don't want to drag it out, but I want each sweatsuit to create a story, because that's what I want to show to y'all. I want to show y'all that I'm telling a story. So real quick summary. For the first sweatsuit, Pretty Girls Love Each Other, it's going to be me, maybe 2 other guys, three girls, and I'm going to be romantically involved with one of the females in the little film. I'm going to tell her that I love her, that I have feelings for her. However, she doesn't feel the same and she hasn't really given me a response. So my friends are just going to tell me Pretty Girls Love Each Other. That's going to be the end of the first episode. Second episode, Hey God, It's Me Again. That's that sweatsuit. You know, she hasn't given me a response. That female I'm romantically involved with, she hasn't given me a response with how she feels with me. So, you know, I'm just praying, Hey God, It's Me Again. That's the end of the second episode. And the last episode is People Come and Go. You know, I finally accepted how she feels, you know, whether she has a response or not. I accepted our terms, and we go our separate ways. People come and go, and that all creates one story. So, appreciate it.
So what's like your long-term, like, big vision?
My long-term big vision is to make this a skateboarding company, a big skateboarding company. I've been skateboarding since I was 11, 12 years old, and it's been on and off, but I always come back to it. You know, that's always been the foundation, you know, just skateboarding, doing what I love to do. So that's the long term, that's what I really want to do, make this big.
So along the way, like, do you have any mentors, influences?
I don't really necessarily have any mentors, but I definitely have a lot of influencers. Like, for example, Beck Visuals, he's a good friend of mine. He's a photographer. He inspires me. Virgil, Rick Owens. There's a lot of different designers that inspire me, you know, to work harder, to get things done.
Where do you feel, so speaking of inspiration, where do you, like, for your designs more specifically, where do you kind of get your inspiration from?
My inspiration really varies, because I'm also into, like, I'm into punk, I'm into, like, 90s rave fashion, I'm into, like, all types of stuff. So my inspiration is really all over the place. It can vary from, you know, stuff to now or stuff to way back in the day. So, yeah.
So we were talking about the pop-up shop last week.
Right.
But just in general, when you see somebody, you know, wearing your brand, or like you see somebody put it on, or you see a picture, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What is that feeling like for you when you see that?
That feeling like for me when someone's wearing my brand, it's a very awe feeling, you know, starting something from the ground up and seeing it get somewhere slowly, even slowly but surely, you know, you're still getting somewhere. That's a very amazing feeling to me that, you know, someone would trust to spend their money on my product, you know, quality-wise, the design-wise, and they like that. You know, that means a lot to me.
what is it about like designing? Like, what's that like? What is it about it that you really love? Like, what's that one thing that you like really love about it?
One thing I love about designing is the creativity I have. So one thing about me, my head is just always on a spiral. Like, it's all over the place. And I couldn't really draw. Like, I suck at drawing, sadly. But when designing, I design on Photoshop. You know, the creativity is all mine. Like, the world is mine. I can do whatever the hell I want to do. So, yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's thinking about, or let me back up. You're not like in school or anything, right?
No, I'm not in school right now.
So what would you say is the biggest benefit of being able to like focus on something you're passionate about as opposed to going the route of like school or something like that?
The biggest benefit of, not going the school route and having, honestly, the biggest benefit is time. Time is always moving, you know what I'm saying? Time is never stagnant, so it's all on you. Like, you have as much time as you want to be creative and to work, and you don't really have that leverage being in college. So that's the biggest thing, time as your asset.
What would you tell somebody who's thinking about starting their own brand but they don't really know what to do, they're maybe nervous or something like that?
One thing I would definitely tell someone who wants to start a brand is to not rush anything. Do not rush at all. Take your time. Make sure you find your niche, who you're trying to sell to, your target audience. Make sure you have a good graphic designer. If you yourself don't design, make sure you have a quality graphic designer. Make sure you have all your designs planned out, campaigns, email marketing. Do your research. So that's what I definitely have for anyone who wants to start a brand.
So that's kind of all before the lightning round. That's kind of all the questions I have.
All right.
Anything that you want to say specifically, like more about your brand?
Not really, nah.
All right, lightning round. I'm just gonna ask you the questions, and you just say the first thing that comes to your head.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
A celebrity you want to see wear your brand.
ASAP.
Favorite place to work on designs.
Home.
Favorite color.
Black.
Person who influences your design taste the most.
Virgil.
Favorite design that you've done to date.
Oh, fuck. I did a flyer for my friend's album release party.
Flats or drums.
Oh, drums, what the fuck?
Article of clothing you want to make but you haven't yet.
A tapestry hoodie.
Nickname growing up.
Junior.
Hero or idol you have. Easy one.
Shit, my mom.
If you win the lottery right now, what are you gonna do first thing?
First thing I'm doing, saving it. Saving it.
Fair enough. Ransford, appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.